What is up, guys? Shadow King 419, your number one daily source for fiber, vitamin C, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, this is not only a video response to Vexcus 4666, but this is also a continuation on my ban list discussion from earlier, because I'd actually like to kind of redo it, go into a little bit more of my choices, as well as kind of show them on screen and not babble on as much. So, yeah, this is a ban list prediction, like I said, and I'll explain. No, these vanillas are not, like, actually on the list. They're just there to be separators, so I know, where, it starts the banned, the forbidden, and, all that stuff. So, banned. I only have one banned card on here, and that is Super Rejuvenation, because this card needs nerfed. It's making, okay, number one, it's making no money for Konami. So right there is a reason for them to want to ban it. And then two, the card itself is broken. So that's just enough. It'll hurt E-Dragons, it'll make them less consistent, which will help all other decks actually be able to compete in the meta, which is good because that is what is definitely needed in the current game. Now then, on to limited. Cards that are at 1. Yes, this is the only banned card. These cards are at 1. First off, Spellbook of Secrets. Secrets needs, I think that this is what Konami will do, because in all reality, this should be Judgment, but Judgment is too new, and it's still making Konami money, so they will not do that. But in order to appease other players, as well as to, slightly nerf Spellbooks a little bit, so that way that they don't become God tier now that they've nerfed, E-Dragons by banning Super Rejuve, they put this at 1 to slow down the consistency of spellbooks, because with this card they search everything, and let's be honest, if they have one of these, they can still do pretty good. They can live with one of these and, be okay. So, yeah, that. Next card is Gold Sark. Now, Gold Sark, even though it's a good card and I like the card and I'll be sad to see it go, it needs to go. It's overstayed its welcome. It is helping E-Dragons way too much, and this would take E-Dragons down a peg very, very good. Now, the next card is one of those cards that Konami will always throw in. They will always throw in something crazy and crazy and crazy on their ban list, and that is Pot of Duality. Now, before you guys go like, oh my gosh, no, how could you tell them to ban or to hit Duality? Well, they've got Duplicity coming out. And in order to make themselves money by encouraging you to get this new secret rare card, Pot of Duplicity, in order to encourage you to get that new secret rare card, they would want to make it better. And what better way to make it better, plays on words, what better way to make the card a much better card than to decrease the amount of the cards that you can use that are better than it. So, if you can only use Avarice or one Avarice and one Duality, then you just might have to run a Duplicity because, you need something to fit that other slot, because some decks do need 2 Dualities because of their consistency. So, I think they might do this. I mean, I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm just hoping that they don't ban Avarice, because I think that Avarice is far more useful to the entirety of the game. But at the same time, Duality does have the bigger drawback by far, because Avarice really doesn't have a drawback. It's just a little more situational, but honestly, in today's meta, it's not really that situation. And this is a card, I picked out these 6, these 5, and then this one, and I was trying to think of which ones out of these that they would bring back, because these are the 6 that I think if they brought back from the ban list, it would be one of these 6, and I chose Imperial Order, because it would hurt Spellbook players. And that is something that's desperately needed. This is honestly, because honestly, this is more nerfing E-Dragons, which is good because E-Dragons need that, but at the same time, Spellbooks need a little pain too. So this at 1 would actually be an amazing side deck card against Spellbooks. So I think Konami could do that, and it would actually be really, really good. I don't think it would break the game at all. So yeah. On to cards that are at 2. Breakthrough Skill. Now, again, this is kind of the work of E-Dragons and some other decks. I hate Breakthrough Skill. Honestly, I think Breakthrough Skill is just a terrible card. It's just a nuisance, and it really is the reason that MST and I'm blanking here. I'm sorry. That MST and Heavy Storm aren't really being played as much, honestly, because, like, even if you do destroy their Breakthrough Skill, it literally doesn't help you at all. It just causes them to use its effect from the grave rather than on the field, so that's why Breakthrough Skill, I think, needs to go to 2. They don't need to ban it. They don't need to put it at 1, I don't think. But putting it at 2, I think, would just make the game a little more balanced. Because, let's be honest, nobody really runs it at 3 much, you know, but, like, still, just to kind of discourage the card just a little bit would be a step in the right direction, and I would like that. Next, Toon Table of Contents. Now, I was thinking for a while to put Toon Table of Contents at 1, but I think Toon Table of Contents at 2 would be a lot better, because, it doesn't, you know, kill Toons, because, you know, Toons are a good archetype, and I don't want to kill Toons because spellbooks can use them, but this is kind of the same reason as I'm banning Super Rejuve, because it's a card that isn't intended for the archetype and doesn't make Konami any money at all, but just causes nuisances to other players. So, yeah. And then, also, I put Gale the Whirlwind at 2. This is a card that I think they could do and get away with, because they've already given us a little Blackwing support in the last, like, in a set or 2 ago. So, why not continue that by giving us, you know, Gale at 2, so we can actually be a little more consistent and, you know, be better. Do it, Konami. Do it. That's one of the choices on here that's more personal preference, but this is the other one that's more personal preference. Ultimate Offering back to 2, because let's be honest, nobody plays gadgets and actually tops, so give us something that can make us consistent. I know this can be used in other decks, but let's be honest, except for gadgets, who really utilizes this card in a substantial way? Not really many decks, because, I mean, honestly, at 1, it's not really good, and then at 2, it kind of clogs. So, just give us it back at 2 so us, you know, gadget players can compete, because we really want to. And then finally, we're going to go to the 2 cards I put at 3. E-Call, because E-Heroes don't do anything, and they already gave support to the E-Calls for Blackwings and for Six Sands, you know, obviously being Smoke Signal and Black Whirlwind, is it? I forget. The one that does it for Blackwings. So, you know, finish that off. Give E-Heroes some love, too. Because, you know, E-Heroes and Six Sams have always kind of been on par, and right now they actually have an upper hand. Now, I know this could help a lot of other decks, but it's just, E-Heroes need the boost, Konami, because we cannot compete, and we really do want to. Because if you follow this ban list, then Harpies and Tidal Mermails and even Fire are going to be rampant, so we'll need to be able to compete with that. And finally, Tsukiyomi at 3, because nobody ran it at 1, nobody's running it at 2, so just go ahead, finish the job, put it at 3, and call it a day. Because this card isn't really that good, and nobody's going to run it no matter how many of them you can run. So yeah, that's my ban list predictions. This is what I think will happen. A couple of these are personal preferences, but a lot of this stuff is stuff that I think would work, and I could see Konami doing. It's not too drastic. It's not going to change the meta entirely. It's not going to refresh everything and kill both of the top decks, but it will hurt. Now, another thing that I was thinking about is maybe putting Ophion to 2, because after they do this stuff to Spellbooks and E-Dragons, it could cause Evil Swarm to become a lot better. But, you know, I don't know. I'll leave that one up to you guys to decide whether or not you think Ophion should be hit to 2 or stay where it's at. But this is my ban list prediction. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys subscribe, and also subscribe to Vexcus4666. He's an awesome Yugi tuber, and check out his channel. Shout out to him. Later.